Now our Falcons be this, so we no get another one. Now our Falcons be this, so. Oh, oh, Ed. Hey, oh, oh, Ed. That is it. That's it. That is it. Where do I start from? How did we get our accreditation? We got our accreditation a week and 2 days before the tournament. We got our accreditation on a Tuesday before the following week of the tournament. And yeah, we started running helter skelter to meet up with visa, sending our passports to Abuja, having booked our flights ahead with the assurance that our visas will come out before our date of travel. But it didn't happen that way due to the issues that they were having at the embassy. So they had a downtime, so it was having delays with issuing visas. We had to reschedule. Our passports were in Abuja waiting for visas to come in while we had already scheduled our flights. Upon hearing that it won't come in when we expected it to come in, we had to reschedule it for another date. We rescheduled our flight twice actually. Visa still didn't come out. We had
For
to,
each of the scheduling
yeah.
of the flight, how much did it cost?
For each of the rescheduling of the flight, 206,000. Yes,
Per person.
per person. Myself and my friend rescheduled twice, so that's about 850K plus to reschedule our flight twice. Eventually,
The original ticket was how much?
the original ticket was 1.6. Yeah, 1.6. So eventually, visas didn't come. They kept on saying it would take long, and we cannot afford to reschedule for a third time. So we had to ask back for our passports to come back to Lagos. In fact, our passport came back the night we were to travel the next day, which we were not even sure that we were going to travel. And upon that, CAF had already sent an email that, oh, you could, visa on arrival. Because we didn't do direct flights with Emirates, we did through Egypt Air. The plan was to come to Morocco 2 days before the event and have a rest, see around your environment, the stadium where we're going to play and all of that. But everything changed entirely when we didn't have our visas. So we had to do visa on arrival. That also took another process where we had to wait for confirmation email from CAF, from the Moroccan immigration. They ought to have sent our names that, okay, these people are coming in with visa on arrival. We had to go to Egypt Air. Can this fly? Would you allow it? Egypt Air said no, that they won't even accept, if you don't have a visa, we won't allow you to board. We had to go to their office. Their office asked us to come the next day early morning, the day we were to fly. So we got there pretty much very early, I would say 4 hours before our flight. On getting there, the letter that we had got from CAF with our names that says these people can fly, they're coming in with visa on arrival, we gave it to them there. So giving it to them there, a little issue back and forth. They said we should wait. We waited for an hour plus for them to confirm from the Moroccan immigration that the letter we had that had our names were legit. Because according to them, they said anybody could forge a letter with your names on it. So we waited, hoping and praying that, they would allow, because amongst all of us, it was just one person that had a visa. So to God be the glory, let me put it like that. They came back and said, okay, they can allow us to board. So doing all of that, we're thankful we crossed. Getting to Cairo, we got to Cairo 9 p.m. of that same night. There was no space to sleep. According to them, we stayed at the airport from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning to join our connecting flight to Casablanca, because our connecting flight to Casablanca was by 7:30 each, thereabout. And so that was how we spent hours at the airport till our next flight to Casablanca in the morning. Getting to this place, we got to Casablanca around 12. We didn't get a hotel. In fact, we didn't get a place to stay till about 7 p.m. in the evening. So we were looking for where to stay from about 12 p.m. in the afternoon till about 7, even though we had booked online, but we didn't pay. But getting there and what we saw was nothing to write home about. So there was no need even using the one we had booked online, to go ahead. So we started looking for places and places and places. And as God may have it, we met a very interesting, and I would say, a Moroccan that really helped us. In fact, I was waiting with our luggage at the train station because we took a train from the airport to Casa Voyage. So that was where I was waiting with our luggage. While my friend and my other colleague with the driver, American driver that helped us look for the place we eventually stayed all through our stay here in Morocco. So 7 p.m., finally got a place. As at 7 p.m., I was begging them on the phone, please come and get me. Co want to finish me. I was very cold. I don't do so well with cold. So at that point, I said, I don't care. Anything you people see, please just collect it like that, because I was already really cold. Obviously, some people, to them, the weather is okay, but for me, I wasn't doing so well. So yeah, we eventually got a place, and yeah, we settled in, even though it was quite expensive. Yeah, all in all, will I say it was worth it? Yes, it was. But on the flip side, again, we now realize that the agent that booked our flight ticket, return flight ticket, booked it for 27th, for about 1 a.m. of 27th. Final is on the 26th, 9 p.m. is in Rabat. We are in Casablanca. Obviously, we have to fly from Casablanca, so it won't even make any sense. We can't be in Rabat for the final at 9 p.m. when you have a flight that's about 1 a.m. in the morning. How do you get trained by Rabat to Casablanca? Is less than an hour, although it's less than an hour. But it will still make sense. It means that we'll miss our flight. So eventually, we had to reschedule our flights the same day of the final, because I wasn't even sure that I was going to be there for the final. As at 5 p.m., I had not rescheduled my flight. I was still in Rabat, thinking of what to do, obviously trying to seek for phones. Eventually, we were able to, reschedule the flights, and I started racing back to the stadium. On my way to the stadium, everywhere was blocked. I had to come down. Driver dropped me where he dropped me. I started trekking. He dropped me as at few minutes to 8. I got to the stadium at past 9. No joke, legit. I was trekking. I was on foot. Past 9, the games had kicked off. Got to the media tribune. Obviously, I wasn't going to enjoy it at the media tribune, so I had to find my way back again to where we had the fans. And by the way, a lot of Nigerians, they didn't get tickets. They kept on begging me because I was with my accreditation tag. So, sister, please, let's even, so my tag helped a few Nigerians to get to a point. But it got to a point where I couldn't do anything anymore because obviously they don't have a tag. So I told them, they obviously, understood. So upon entering the stadium, I don't know, it didn't make sense to me, because if you said this entrance was for Nigerians, why do we have Moroccans fighting to enter through that point? And they didn't even allow Nigerians that even had their tickets easily to pass through that point. But eventually, I was able to enter. And yeah, it was the atmosphere. It reminded me of AFCON last year. And it was a different feeling in the stadium. I really wanted to watch the entrance, how they walked in, the national anthem, but I missed all of that. But anyways, yeah, getting into the game, 2 goals down. I remember telling Kelechi that I think these girls will come back. I just had that feeling that, I'm not saying that because we won, obviously. People will say, oh, but I had that feeling. I said, I feel like these girls will come back. The first half, they were not so good. Lots of errors, that was happening in the game. It almost felt like maybe they were shaky because of the crowd or something. I don't know. And at some point, because of the noise, I usually try to avoid the vuvuzelas because it gives me migraine. So I had to stay on one side. The amount of crowd we have in the stadium, you can literally count the number of Nigerians that were there. So when we started singing, now our Fakos be this, so we don't get another one. In my head, I'm like, who is even going to hear this song? Because you can't, the Falcons can't even hear it. It was later on I heard when we were interviewing them at the media zone that they said they actually heard us when we were singing. Because I didn't think they were going to hear that song, but they did. Shout out to Swore, Chief Swore, her energy. I don't know. I don't know where she got her energy all through the tournament, but yeah. So 2 goals down, second half, the turnaround started with the penalty. He said, okay, let's go, girls. You can do this, no matter what. And I think the major key point for me, the turnaround was I think, this is what I think. I think if the referee had given that penalty, because we were literally praying, VAR, please don't allow that penalty to stand, and that happened. So I feel like it was a key turning point in that match, for the girls, and they woke up for some reason. And I remember when we had interviewed the Ghanaian coach when they played against South Africa at the press conference, and we asked him the question, his prediction, who does he think would win? He said, if Nigeria comes to the party, then he'll put $1. He thinks that Nigeria would win if they come to the party. So as at that first half when it was 2-0, I said, this is what the Ghanaian coach said, that if they don't come to the party, then there's a chance that Morocco was going to win this game. So they turned everything around in the second half, and voila, we're here today and we have our OON. Yes, because that is it, OON. We kept clamoring, if people don't give these girls what they deserve, we're going to drag you by the throat. But I'm also going to say that I think the journalists that came on this trip, a lot of us came on this trip with our personal monies, with our savings. I'm sitting out here today and I can tell you for a fact that I still get gbese where they wait for me. I'm not even capping. I have debts that I need to pay back because of this trip. And I think that journalists don't get to be appreciated enough. We didn't have supporters club. Journalists turned to supporters club, started singing. I don't think there's nothing that journalists did not do. And you see them doing all of this in the midst of, after every game, you go to the press conference, media zone. The next minute, you're seeing content out there. You're seeing information about the game. Even with how exhausted everyone is, but you have to do what you have to do. And I think we're not appreciated enough, to be honest. Yeah, obviously, the whole monies that we saw, they appreciated the girls, money they were giving. In the group I was, I see people changing the money, we were calculating it, how much is this in Naira? Would they calculate people money? The money is not coming to us. So please, authorities, I don't know who is speaking for the journalists. Please, people should speak for us. I'm not joking. I beg, who do we have that can speak? I know I saw a letter, a press release from the Swan president and the secretary. I don't know how far that would go, but I think, personally, that the journalists that went on this trip, if you count Nigerian journalists were the highest journalists on this trip, literally. If you count us, I'm not sure say we reach 50. And you can't tell me that you cannot, appreciate the journalists that went on this trip. We are not up to 50. So I think something should be done to appreciate that, oh, you all went there, you did well. And of course, like I said, I'm making this video, I'm still in Morocco. Some of my people don't day house. I had to stay here 5 days extra. I'm staying here 5 days extra just because, So yeah, it is what it is. We came, we saw, and we conquered. That's the most important thing.
Now,
yeah.
In the final summary, slide back.
Yeah.
Take us through the experiences of game 1, game 2,
Game 1,
game 4, game 5 before the finals.
Game 1, game 2, game 3. I missed the first game, by the way, because of, obviously, I didn't get my visa. So I missed the opening ceremony, missed the first game. I was this close to missing the second game, but, we made it down here. Second game, Botswana. It's as a journalist and even as a sports content creator, it made our work a little bit hard because you didn't have people to talk to. I'm talking about fans now because I feel like there are a lot of things that fans, bring to the stadium. And one thing I think CAF should also look into is to games like this. There are ways you can do it where you can allow fans come to watch even without paying. Now, it makes it look very good for aesthetics, even on TV. If you compare it to the Euros game, the women Euros that just ended almost at the same time, you see, you compare the atmosphere in the stadium compared to, what we witnessed at the WAFCON. The only atmosphere I would say I truly did enjoy was the final because obviously you had fans, the banter with Moroccan fans. I was even laughing in between with them. Like, and I think I dropped the video where one of them was saying, "You already have 10. This one, let's just have it." And I started laughing. She said, "You have 10. This one, 9." No, the lady was saying 10. Obviously, she didn't know. So you have 10. This one is ours today. It's ours today. And I was laughing while making the video with the lady. So I think that turnout for fans, obviously, it's women's football. You can't compare it to men's football, which I understand. But I think they should be lenient with tickets, with allowing fans into the stadium to come and watch, to come and cheer. Because I think at some point, even if you do, we might still not have a filled stadium, but it will be much more better than where you're having to restrict fans if they don't pay ticket to come watch. So yeah, first game was good. As always, we became the Nigerian club supporters, had to cheer the girls, and it was a good good atmosphere. Press conference, media zones with the girl. Then our third game, Algeria, final group game of the match, which we played out a draw. And yeah, I have to say this part in the video. So I guess we're upset. They didn't want to talk to us in the media zone. I don't know why we're not vexed. So it was almost like we came here for you ladies. So even if you didn't, because they were expecting to, get a win to end with a 9 point. But even at that, I feel like you should allow your journalists to talk to you, no matter how upset you are after a game, regardless. So some of us were not really, happy with the reception they gave to us after that game in wanting to talk to us. It was almost like we are begging to talk to you while we came here with our monies, obviously, for these games. So yeah, at the end of the day, 7 points, and no matter how we had tried, there was no way we're going to avoid playing Zambia. So even if we had finished top of that group, we would have still played Zambia. And going into Zambia's game, the talks were, I was scared, people were shaking. How do you want to go and face Barbara Banda? In as much as we had not considered in the group stage, but there was still that fear, going into the press conference, hearing them, the likes of Kunjinanji, so confident, when we're talking to her, and she says, yeah, they've not considered, but, and so what? So it was it was the confidence for me going into that game. But at the same time, Super Falcons were just giving us the vibe of Mekuna just chillax first, they watch waiting go happen. But the Zambians were so confident that yes, they were going to, get a good one over the girls. And we saw how that went down. I did not see it coming. I don't think I ever saw that game coming the way it ended. But yeah, it was a good one. 5-0. 5. In me, I not believer. But yes, I'm sure even the Zambian team, didn't see that coming. And even the super, I remember when we were talking to Plumter, yeah, and I asked her, she says that the game was not as easy as we think. I think she said it was even one of the most toughest games for her at the tournament when I asked her, based on the fact that she had to be running back and forth, from our own post to the back and forth, back and forth. So it was a difficult game for her. So I remember she saying that too at the media zone. So it was a good game for the girls. And yes, at that point, everybody felt relaxed. Then we had to now face South Africa. And we know the rivalry between Nigeria and South Africa. I won't say, I think the rivalry between Nigeria and South Africa is not a healthy one. I think so. I always enjoy our rivalry with Nigeria and Ghana, but with South Africa is always, it's always different. And going into that game, some of us felt a little bit relaxed. While some were saying, let's just, see how that goes. And going into that game and seeing how it turned out, we were praying and hoping that it will end the way it ended. 6 minutes extra time. And I remember murmuring to, I can't remember who was by my side, and I said, just one goal and let this end. And before you said Jack Robinson, we are here. It ended up in a 2-1 victory. And as always, journalists turned Nigerian supporters, we scattered the place. So yeah, and of course, to the next one, next one is the final. And yes, I also say shout out to my Charlie brothers. Ghanaians, they supported Nigerians, no jokes. And we also had a few of Moroccans that actually did support Nigeria. I remember when I was on the streets, trying to get some of their takes and predictions. Most of them were saying Morocco, Nigeria, even though we don't hear English. But at least the way they communicate, you can understand a little bit. Nigeria, Morocco. They were saying they want Nigeria, Morocco in the final. And I think they actually got their wish. But yeah, shout out to the Ghanaians, for supporting Nigeria. Because I remember playing that game against South Africa. After that game, we had a question. We asked them the predictions of the game, and I said no, that they want Nigeria to win. And yeah, I love the fact that South Africans were served Nigeria and Ghanaian jollof. So yeah, they gave them wote.
In 120 minutes, please don't be mad.
Yeah.
In 120 minutes. Talk to us about all the food experience and the bread.
Oh.
Bread. 120 minutes remaining.
120 minutes remaining.
120 seconds, sorry, that's 2 minutes.
Okay. I'll quickly come on. I need to quickly talk about the food in Morocco. Bread, kilo dinner, or what is it? Bread. Everything they serve you here, they'll give you bread. Anything you serve you here, they'll give you bread. Sometimes they even add chips to inside. They serve you what's it called? Bread. There's either you're eating sandwich with bread, or you're eating bread and rice, or you're eating bread and pork, or you're eating bread. Everything literally comes with a bread. In the morning, there is bread. In the afternoon, there is bread. Anything they give you, if they give you fruits, they'll serve you with bread. And people that be asking me, bring bread home, bring bread. People like say bread ain't cheap as for Morocco. Maybe that's why, they give it the way they give it too. But yeah, their food. I don't want to say I want to criticize it, but no, I can't. If I stay here 1 month, I think I'm going to blow up. Because I think bread, nah. That's all I can say. So, but coming back here again in December, hi, Chikunna, come back with your pepe. If you come to this one, you do not carry pepe. My dear, my brothers and sisters, come back with your pepe and what? Plenty food, because if you do not come back with your pepe, you're coming for bread. Now bread you go chop. That's all I have to say. Until then, bye.